So lately, I feel like I'm driving down the road 100 miles an hour with my parking brake on.
Oh,
And that's what happens when we are not practicing self care. So I want you to stop right now, unless you're driving. Take a look at your phone settings and notice how much screen time you've recorded in the past week. So, Dr. Sabrina, you shared something that was so simple and profound with me last week. And I pulled up my screen time and I was just blown away and really embarrassed at how much screen time I had. And then this feeling set in of, oh my gosh, I am not prioritizing my self care as I should. And that 4 hours that I spent with my phone in my hand this past week could have spent recharging my battery.
yes. So that's just it. Our phones drain our batteries and we're not even aware of it. So I love that you're having us look at our screen time. This came out of a conversation in leadership boot camp with the A player leaders in our clients' teams. And we were talking about how when we're busy and ramped up, like the adrenaline is just coursing through our bodies, and then we start making decisions on rapid fire, and they're not like we're not using our good thinking. We're not grounded when we're doing that. And I mentioned meditation, and I just asked this participant, does he meditate? And he said, I don't have time. I've got a family, my child it needs extra attention. I've got all this stuff going on at work. I don't have time for meditation. And it dawned on me and I said, just take a look at how much screen time you've had in the last week. And that, just like that epiphany that you created when you asked us to look at our screen time right now, it's so profound that amount of time, every time we have a moment of downtime, we reach for our phones and we look at I got notifications and I want to go see what's in group me and, Instagram and, oh, there's a Facebook notification or Messenger or Slack or whatever. And it is so compelling. And I noticed this awareness for me happened in my therapy session a couple of weeks ago when I was talking to my therapist, and I talk about grief and the grief. There's ebbs and flows of grief, but I had been in a good space for a while, and then all of a sudden, I was in a really bad place. And I was talking to my therapist about it, and she was going through different things. And she said, how much screen time have you had lately? And I said, well, I don't usually do a lot of screen time, but lately I've noticed I've been doing it a lot in between because I have a lot of in between time as I'm taking my daughter to things. And she said, get a book or do something, have a plan for that time, but just get off the screen and see what happens. And it was within 2 days, I had a completely different mindset. It was amazing to me. And it's, reading the news and seeing what's going on in the world around us. We need to stay informed, but multiple times a day? No. Once a day is plenty to hit the major things that are going on. And really, we can scroll through the headlines. We don't even need to read deeply through everything. And then on our social feeds, we're being bombarded with bad news. And it to me, there's this feed that shows bad news, bad news, bad news, somebody's perfect life. Bad news, a perfect life. Like there's no in between. And so this is my struggle. This is why I don't post a lot personally on social media, because I can make pretty pictures of me and my family. We're quite photogenic. I have a large dog. He's cute. I look nice on screen. My daughters look nice on the camera. You and Caitlin are very photogenic. But our life is not these snapshots of beauty and perfectness. And so I hate overloading my feed with that.
Mhm.
Um, but yet I don't want to put out there, oh, yeah, breakfast this morning was quite stressful. The dog peed on the floor and then blah, blah, blah. Like who wants to hear all that? And so what I have become, I've always been aware of this, but what I've just been particularly aware of in the last few weeks is I have a really nice little reminder on my phone. It's my work supports life sticker, and I'm holding it up for those of you who are watching the video of this. It's our tap the potential work supports life, not the other way around, big yellow sticker on the back of my phone. And so I keep my phone turned face down, and anytime I go to reach for it, that sticker reminds me, stop. Be present in the moment. So back to the discussion that came out of leadership boot camp with the team member who said he doesn't have time to meditate. Anytime we want to pick up our phone, we can put it down and take a deep breath or 3 deep breaths to ground ourselves to be present in the moment and be bored. Like let ourselves be in the moment, looking at the world going on around us. And yes, it's not nearly as stimulating as what's in that social feed, but that's the point.
Mhm.
And take some deep breaths. And then there's larger chunks of time, like when I zone out in the evening and scroll, that can be used for reading a good novel. I've got a really good novel now. Or taking up a hobby or something that you're interested in. Like Melissa, you could be sketching or painting or coming up with your next project in that screen time, that 4 hours. Just think about what you could create in 4 hours, Melissa.
Yeah, Caitlin actually sent me a text. She is in training to be a yoga instructor. And last night she sent a text and she said, Mom, I get it now. Art is healing your mind and it's transforming you. And I said, yes, I'm so glad that you had that experience through yoga. And absolutely, those 4 hours could be spent doing other things. And really, something you're talking about social media, and that's absolutely true. Also, now we're in the age of AI. And AI is becoming very much like social media in the fact that we're using it for connection. We aren't thinking for ourselves. We aren't giving our brains that downtime, and it's creating a point of connection where we can just zone out, and then we're really not taking care of ourselves and we're not thinking for ourselves. And it really makes us feel more depressed, right?
Yes, absolutely. When we're not using our brains to think deeply, there's our brains shift into a different mode, and it creates relaxation when we are thinking through something deeply. When we start relying too much on AI and we stop thinking deeply, we are depriving our brains of that. And our brains are already deprived because of how much social media and scrolling that we're doing. I have been making an intentional effort over the last 5 years to be able to read books, read long form copy, like something that I actually have physical magazines that I read. And I make time for that to keep my brain in that space where it can do those things, but also creativity and allowing the space for creativity. So I'll share just a little fun hack where I've actually used AI to support my creativity. I love doing watercolor, and I have ideas in my mind of images that I want to create of my family in watercolor. An example, we were all at the beach and we were looking at a beautiful sunset, and I wanted to do a painting of myself and my daughters looking at the sunset at the beach. And I wanted to include our dog, our Irish Wolfhound, but he was not at the beach with us. And so there was no accurate photo to work from on this. And so I went to Chat GPT and I said, this is what I have in mind, create this and blah, blah. And I used the descriptors and it gave me some images to work from that I then worked on painting from and came up with a watercolor that people look at it and go like, that's you guys, like, that's you, Dr. Sabrina, right there in that picture. And that's Quinn. And I'm like, yes, it is. But, so we can use AI, but we want to do it in a way that enhances our creativity. And we're here at Profit by Design podcast. This is a business podcast and we're talking about creativity. And so you may be wondering, what on earth does this have to do with business? It has everything to do with business because we have to innovate in our businesses. And especially with AI, if we don't innovate, we are going to fall behind. And that innovation will happen in those moments when we are doing nothing, when we are just sitting, staring into space, or we're painting a picture or knitting or whatever it is. That is that opportunity for our brain to relax and unwind. And there's a very different activity in the brain when we're creating and relaxing versus zoning out, watching something on Netflix or scrolling through our phones.
Absolutely. That is when the innovation always happens, when you can take that rest away from your screen, away from your computer, away from the office. That's when all the magic really happens. And, another thing that I would like for us to talk about is how your breathing works. So when you're sitting on social media, scrolling or AI or watching Netflix, whatever the case may be, talk to us, Dr. Sabrina, about how we're breathing at that time.
Yeah.
And how
are we even aware that we're breathing at that time?
Exactly. So taking those deep breaths in, and just notice your body the next time you're scrolling. Are you really taking those deep breaths in and breathing fully? And what kind of breath work does it take to actually make your brain work and function and make decisions well?
Yes. So we need to be breathing deeply for our brain to make the best decisions. And we cannot expect to shift from adrenaline rush of running around solving all the problems in the business to making strategic decisions that really solve higher level problems in the business. That's the $10,000 an hour time. So we want to breathe deeply from our diaphragm, deep breaths. We need to feel our belly moving in and out as we're breathing. That means sitting up tall. I was noticing my daughter at the dinner table the other day when she was eating a snack by herself, and she had her phone in her hand and she was like hunched over and her stomach was caved in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to become the hunchback. But that's what I see. We drive, when we drive to school in the morning, we see kids at the bus stop. They're not talking to each other. They have their phones out and their necks are down and their body is hunched over. So there is no air going to the diaphragm. They're missing social connection. They're missing, my daughter's like, they're not talking to each other, Mom. And I said, I know, this is serious. That we've stopped talking to each other. We use our phones as these barriers in our relationships with people and our opportunities to connect when we're out and about in the world. But back to the breathing. we want to be breathing deeply, feeling our bellies go in and out, and then taking space between the breaths. So there's a pause when we breathe in and then breathe out. There's a pause right there. And that's where the peace settles in. And then we can breathe in again and breathe out. And there's another pause and deeper peace settles in. So when you tune in to that feeling of peace, it's very reinforcing if we're paying attention to it. And it being reinforcing means we'll want it more and more when we start paying attention to it. And so we have thousands and thousands of repetitions of a habit of picking up our phone in our mind and being rewarded with dopamine and endorphins and all of that being released. It's going to take thousands and thousands of repetitions of deep breathing and paying attention to the pause and the peace to rewire our brains. It is worth it. So look at your screen time and set a goal to cut it in half in the next week and use that time in other ways, in ways that fill you up versus drain your battery. And I want to share something. If you would like one of our Work Supports Life stickers, not the other way around, to put on the back of your phone as a reminder, I'm happy to send these to you free, no charge. Just drop a DM and send me your address and I'll send you a sticker in the mail. Or if you have 5 family members and you want all of them to have a sticker, I'll send you 5 stickers, as many as you want for your team, your family. Just let me know, drop it in the DM, drop your address. It's a great way to remind yourself to be fully present with the people around you. Being emotionally present is the greatest gift we can give another human being. It's also the greatest gift we can give ourselves.
I feel so different just from that moment of breathing. So here's what I challenge you to do. Be intentional. Create a time in between your meetings. So before you go into your next call, don't pick up your phone to take a look at what text messages have come in or your likes on social or a quick check of your email. Instead of checking your phone, take those breaths. And you will show up much calmer, much more at peace for your meetings. Do this again before you start your next project. And the times that you are scrolling, just set an alarm on your phone. Give yourself a few minutes, but have that reminder to cut it off and do something else. Dr. Sabrina, this has been a fabulous discussion, and I know that it's going to impact everyone listening. And if you want more support, what I would encourage you to do is go to tapthepotential.com/assessment. Take our assessment. A lot of this overthinking and the dopamine hits that you're seeking from your screen is because you're ruminating on areas that you're stuck in your business and your life. And likely you're not sure what the next step of action is to take. So take that assessment and we're going to tell you exactly what to do and when to do it and how to do it. And be sure and DM Dr. Sabrina so that you can get your own Work Supports Life sticker. Thank you
for bringing this topic, Melissa.
Yes, absolutely. We'll see you next time on the Profit by Design podcast.